I believe there's a new sheriff in town. Oh, look, I'm not going to get into a lot of details on the conference and the talks that touched me. But President Oaks' talk at the end of conference, October 2025, I feel like I'm part of something again. This is just so wonderful. I'm so thrilled. I'm overwhelmed. I felt the Spirit so strong. A couple of just interesting things that popped out to me. One is the announcement of temples. We're not going to do that at this conference. I think that is just so telling. And I don't want to detract from the Spirit that I'm feeling, but I'm just saying that felt so right. It just felt so right. The one interesting thing, and put this in the comments, is he said that part of his talk he'd written after President Nelson had died. But the next part that he was going to share on the family proclamation, the proclamation of family, the family proclamation to the world, sorry, that had been approved and written weeks before. Now, the approval process, here's my thoughts on it. And please put in the comments what your thoughts. I think those have to be approved by public affairs and attorneys, have to approve to see if they're going to be okay throughout the world and all that. And I don't think that the part that he did was approved. I think that was the point that he was making. That's my opinion. That the point about the announcement of the temples, this is just me talking now. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We got plenty to do. Let's get these temples built now that have been announced. So I love that. I love that. But what he said on the proclamation, did you see the correlation between what we heard? Many of us had followed Charlie Kirk and knew some of the things he was saying. We knew he was pro-family and get married and things like that. But when he said Mormons need to get their mojo back. The mojo is fall in love, man and wife, or man and woman, fall in love, get married, and have more kids than you can afford. That's the secret. We heard that from President Oaks. We heard that. Plant a garden as a family, go on some vacations, make a living, go do some sporting events, have some activities, mom and a dad and children, and have children. We haven't heard that message for so long of having children. I am so thrilled. I am so thrilled. I feel like now I have a personal connection, Sue and I do, with President Oaks. So maybe has something to do with it, but I don't think so, because I wasn't thinking of that at all when he was speaking. And if you can watch it, look at his countenance change when he's describing what he had approved and what he was going to talk about versus what he was going to say or what he had said after President Nelson's death. I think you can just see, like, this is what the Lord wants me to do, and I'm doing it. And it's the way it is. And he did say that it needs to be approved, or was approved, or approved by the 12, I think is how that he wasn't going to announce the temples that President Nelson probably would have announced. So it's just so good, so good. But the proclamation, the family, and reiterating that one man, one woman, getting married, having children, boom. I think I know Elder Rasband talked about the proclamation and kind of a repeat of what he spoke about at BYU a week or two ago, 2 weeks. I can't remember, but that was more about the history kind of the proclamation and not really the nuts and bolts, in my opinion. And that his name is on there, even though it's not, but that because he's 12, he's part of that, kind of thing. President Oak's name is on the proclamation. His name is on the proclamation. So let's let that sink in a little bit. I'm part of something again. I love it. I'm so thrilled. I don't know where it's all going to go from here or what's going to happen or, but I'm a happy man today. I heard things and there's other talks too that I felt it. I felt that there was an outpouring of the Spirit with some of the speakers. They weren't so mechanical and it didn't seem as contrived. There was a couple of mistakes, which they're not mistakes. It's like real, and I loved it. Like I wish these things could happen more often, so it didn't seem so contrived. There was some animation and in voices, and by animation it was was it Elder Brown, I think, yesterday? Gosh, from Jamaica, just it was so good. Even that the guy from the Sunday school presidency, I think it was right around the same time. Man, the message was so good. Elder Hollins, are you kidding me? Those of us that are going to be going to Jerusalem and Israel, we're going to be at the pools of Siloam. We're going to be there. It's a newly excavated site. In previous years when we've gone there, it's just there's not much to see, and you kind of have to imagine, that there's a pool there. Well, they've uncovered a description where this man would have gone and washed the mud out of his eyes and could see again. And that pool, there's a pilgrimage path, steps that go right up to the Temple Mount. It's so cool, from the city of David right on up. Anyway, a lot of biblical stories, Hannah and Samuel, being in those places, there's just something, I don't know. I don't want to get off on that. I want to focus on President Oaks. Let me just tell you real quick. I'll make this a quick video, but we had an interview with Elder Oaks, and it was about a half hour long. It was just incredible. I think I've already talked about it on this channel, so I'm not going to repeat it. Let's just say he was the kindest, nicest man. Just amazing. And then he ended up being the one that set us apart, Sue and I apart, to serve our mission. So, of course, we have a connection with him. But this was different. This was different today. The doctrine of the restored gospel is directed towards families. And, we can always acknowledge and say, not all families, this going to the lowest, I shouldn't even say the lowest, but going to all the what the different family configurations can be. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. When we're part of the family of God, and that's what the temple brings, being sealed to the family of God, as families, as individuals being part of a family, being sealed to God. So yeah, if it's not perfect, if there's divorce, death, or just circumstances that didn't allow it, whatever it is, you can still be sealed to the family of God. And that's what I love. All this other stuff is just confusing. But ideally, and the purpose is to have Adam and Eve be a representative to us. A man, a woman bearing children, a man being basically the provider, a woman being the nurturer, and kind of being the glue that holds, but the man being the priesthood bearer, making sure that the gospel's taught in the family, in the home, the gospel of Jesus Christ. And just, being a leader, being a protector, the stronger vessel. Men are generally stronger. We see that in sports now, don't we? It doesn't mean anything. It's just that it is what it is, and it's the way God created us overall. And what I heard from President Oaks was those very basic things. And going through like the people aren't having children anymore. It's crazy. We haven't heard unless I've missed it, I haven't heard that. I've heard a lot about, education, and still do. I've heard a lot about compassion and a lot about not being contentious. I heard a lot about that. And speaking of that, the very first talk in conference talked about contention, Elder Stevenson. And I was like, oh, who's this directed towards? I don't really know any contentious people. Like, I don't know, like in the LDS faith, is there just a real so is he speaking to everybody generally? Is he speaking to the perpetrators that cause violence? Is he speaking to us as members of the church that we need to not be contentious? Like, generally speaking, who's contentious? I don't know. Some of you might say that I am. And in fact, I said that to Sue after that talk. I said, I'm the most contentious person I know, and I don't contend with anybody. I talk here and whatnot, but I go to not all, but most of my grandkids' sporting events. And I'm pretty cool, calm, and collective. I don't really get mad at the refs too often. And if I do, I try to keep it down. I have to calm Sister Palmer down occasionally, and she's a little more vocal than I am about it. But church, neighbors, I've had things, where things happen and then you deal with them, and then you make up and you move forward. It's not like I'm just totally nice all the time, but I don't see much of that. You watch the news and you see violence and you see crazy things. So if that's who that's talking to, here's what I would hope is that say, look, generally speaking, this is what I would want to hear. As an explanation. Generally speaking, I think members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are awesome, and they don't contend, and they're great. If there's a few of you that have issues with that, work on it, get better. But I'm speaking to those in this world and condemning these people that are destructive, that are evil, that have an evil spirit in them that they want to destroy. They don't want to destroy property. They want to destroy life. They want to destroy goodness. And then I think we could all embrace it. But if we just hear a talk on racism, or you hear a talk on contention, then are you thinking, is this a problem in the church? Like, are there just big groups of members of the church that are contentious? I don't know. That's one thing I would like to hear, is when there's specific talks about a problem or an issue, like, who are you seeing an issue? Because if we talk about, like Elder Oaks did, President Oaks, that we're not having children like we should, he's talking to us and the general population. Boom, you get it, you hear it. But when you hear about contention, like, well, like, you can prove Mormons aren't having kids anymore, or very few. There's I understand that some are having children, but nothing like what the Lord commanded and what we should be doing. So that's an issue. It's identified. He's saying it. It's not only the world, it's us. But these other things, I kind of want to know what, like, as a church, do we have a real bad issue with contention and not being peacemakers? Okay. All right. Well, we've got our mojo back, I think. So God bless. We'll talk to you soon. We'll talk more about conference later. But this has been so awesome. Thanks. God bless. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.